Have you ever wondered how a fighter who survives 12 brutal rounds in the ring can lose the fight the moment the lights go off? Behind the belts, the cheers, and the highlight reels, there's a quieter battle no one trains for. Tonight, we uncover how a boxing champion's greatest opponent wasn't across the ring, but waiting for him afterward. Stay with me till the end, because hidden throughout this story are clues that reveal how far this went, and who tried to stop it. He wasn't just winning fights, he was dominating them. By his mid-20s, the boxer had become a symbol of discipline. Early mornings, punishing roadwork, iron focus. Commentators praised his composure. Trainers trusted him. Fans believed he was different, cleaner, smarter, built for longevity. Inside the ring, he was surgical. Outside it, untouchable. Endorsements followed. Title defenses stacked up. Interviews painted him as humble, grounded, focused on legacy. Cameras loved him. Kids copied his footwork in dusty gyms. But here's what no one noticed at first. The longer the winning streak grew, the quieter he became after fights. Teammates assumed exhaustion. Trainers blamed pressure. Reporters never asked the right questions, because champions aren't supposed to unravel when they're on top. And that's the illusion that kept everyone blind. The first warning sign didn't come from a failed drug test. It came from a night he won decisively, then disappeared. No interviews, no after-party photos, just unanswered calls and a habit that was about to turn routine into ruin. Victory nights were supposed to feel light. The adrenaline fades, the bruises ache, the body begs for rest. For most fighters, that meant ice baths, quiet rooms, sleep. For him, it meant something else. It started subtly, champagne in VIP lounges, laughter echoing long after the cameras shut off. Teammates called it unwinding. Promoters called it earned. No one questioned a champion enjoying his success. But here's the detail that mattered. He stopped going home after wins. Instead, he disappeared into private rooms, dim lights, loud music, faces that changed every night. The substances weren't introduced as drugs. They were introduced as helpers. Something to relax the nerves. Something to silence the noise. Something to help him sleep. At first, it didn't affect training. His sparring stayed sharp. His weight cut stayed clean. If anything, he looked more confident, almost invincible. That's how addiction hides best. By the time camp began for his next title defense, the routine had shifted. Late arrivals, missed morning runs, excuses that didn't quite add up. His trainer noticed something else too. The fighter's hands, once steady, sometimes trembled before sparring. Not during punches, before them, as if his body was asking for something his discipline refused to admit. Still, the wins kept coming, and every victory made it easier to believe the lie. I'm in control. Watch closely. There's a moment in this story where someone tries to intervene. The clue isn't what they say. It's when they stop saying anything at all. The breaking point didn't come in training. It didn't come in public. It came when the substances followed him into camp. And once they crossed that line, the damage became impossible to hide. Fight week is unforgiving. There's no room for secrets when your body is on display. Weight checks, medical exams, cameras everywhere. Every breath, every blink, every movement is watched. And this time, something was off. It showed up first on the scale. He made weight, but barely. His face looked hollow, eyes sunken deeper than usual. Reporters blamed the cut. Fans called it war ready. But inside the locker room, concern replaced confidence. His coach asked a simple question. Are you sleeping? The answer came too fast. Yeah. Too fast is how lies sound when the truth is heavy. During warm-ups, his rhythm felt wrong. Punches landed, but they didn't snap. His footwork lagged a half second behind his instincts. It wasn't fatigue, it was delay. Like his mind and body were no longer arriving at the same time. Then came the fight. The opening round looked normal, controlled, safe. By the second, the cracks appeared. He missed shots he never missed. Took punches he usually slipped. Between rounds, his corner spoke, but his eyes didn't lock in. He nodded without hearing. That's when the cameras caught it. A brief moment. Almost invisible. His hands shaking again, this time not from nerves, from need. The commentators didn't say it out loud. They didn't have to. Former fighters in the booth recognized the signs instantly. This wasn't conditioning. This wasn't age. This was chemistry. The fight ended early, not with a knockout, but a quiet, devastating stoppage. The referee waved it off as the crowd booed, confused by what they'd just seen. He walked back to the locker room alone. No celebration, no interviews, no answers. Just a fighter staring into a mirror, realizing his secret had finally stepped into the spotlight. If you're picking up on the clues hidden in this story, stay with it. The truth doesn't reveal itself all at once, but it does leave footprints. The commission didn't announce anything that night. No failed test, no suspension. But behind closed doors, paperwork had already started moving. And the next phone call he received would change his career forever. It came the morning after the fight. No press release. No warning. Just a number he didn't recognize buzzing on his phone. He almost ignored it. Almost. The voice on the other end was calm. Too calm. Professional. Practiced. This is the Athletic Commission. We need you to come in. No accusations. No explanations. That silence? That's how you know it's serious. Inside the office, the walls were bare. No posters. No trophies. Just files. Stacked thick. Heavy with history. Careers ended quietly in rooms like this. They slid the report across the table. Irregularities. Inconsistencies. Medical flags. Not proof yet. But suspicion doesn't need proof to start digging. They asked about sleep, about recovery, about substances, legal and otherwise. He denied everything. Denied it the way fighters do, confident, practiced, convincing. Years of press conferences had trained him well. But then came the final question. Do you want to explain why your biological markers shifted drastically in under 6 weeks? That's when his voice cracked. Because the truth was this. It didn't start with addiction. It started with pressure. A lingering injury no one was supposed to know about. A doctor who promised relief without paperwork. A substance that wasn't banned until it was abused. Something to sleep. Something to train. Something to feel normal again. One thing became two. Two became routine. Routine became dependence. And dependence doesn't care if you're a champion. The commission ordered a retroactive review. Past samples, old medicals, training logs. Suddenly, his entire career was being replayed, frame by frame. When he left the building, reporters were already waiting. Someone had leaked the meeting. The story hadn't broken yet, but it was breathing. Pay attention to what hasn't been said yet. The loudest truths in sports scandals are usually hidden between the lines. The test results wouldn't come back for weeks. But the damage? That started immediately. Sponsors stopped calling. Gyms stopped answering. And an old teammate, someone who knew everything, was about to speak. It didn't come from the commission. It didn't come from the media. It came from inside. A screenshot surfaced first, grainy, cropped, anonymous. A private message thread. No names. No context. Just enough to raise eyebrows. Then, a journalist posted 3 words. Sources confirm investigation. That was all it took. By nightfall, his name was trending. Not for knockouts, not for belts, but for whispers. Allegations dressed up as concerns. Questions framed as facts. The gym went quiet. Phones stopped lighting up. Sparring partners made excuses. Trainers suddenly had scheduling conflicts. But the real damage came the next morning. A former teammate went live. Not angry, not emotional, measured, calm, dangerous. I'm not saying he cheated, the teammate said, leaning into the camera. I'm saying I saw things that didn't add up. That sentence did more harm than any accusation ever could. He talked about late-night injections, unusual recovery times, mood swings before fights. Nothing concrete, nothing provable. But doubt doesn't need evidence. It just needs repetition. Sponsors noticed. A nutrition brand quietly removed his image from their website. A betting partner paused their collaboration. An apparel deal scheduled for announcement was suddenly under review. Behind closed doors, lawyers scrambled. Because here's the part fans don't see. Once substance abuse enters the conversation, it stops being about rules and starts being about liability. Was he fit to fight? Was he a risk to opponents? Were wins achieved under compromised conditions? Every victory now had an asterisk hovering over it. And then came the call that truly changed everything. Not from the commission, not from the media, from his promoter. We need to talk about contingencies. That's promoter language for one thing only. They were preparing for a ban. Meanwhile, the test results were still pending. No confirmation, no denial, just a career suspended in midair, waiting to fall. Watch how quickly the narrative shifts when silence replaces certainty. In combat sports, perception often delivers the first punch. The lab results would decide everything. But before they arrived, one more secret surfaced. A document from years earlier that was never meant to be public. The document was old, buried so deep it should have stayed forgotten, filed under medical disclosures, stamped, signed, archived, and ignored, until someone pulled it. Dated years before his rise to stardom, the report wasn't dramatic at first glance. No failed tests, no suspensions, just clinical language and careful phrasing. But one line changed everything. Approved for therapeutic use under monitored conditions. A Tuesday. Therapeutic use exemption. Legal. Approved. Temporary. And explosive. Because exemptions don't exist in a vacuum. They come with timelines, renewals, and restrictions. And according to the document, his exemption had expired. No renewal on file. No updated clearance. No follow-up approval. Which raised a dangerous question. Was the substance still in his system after permission ran out? His camp reacted fast. They released a statement within hours, tight, polished, lawyer-approved. He followed all medical guidance provided at the time. He has never knowingly violated anti-doping regulations. We are confident the facts will speak for themselves. Careful wording. No direct denial. No mention of dates. The commission noticed too. Behind the scenes, investigators began matching timelines. Fight schedules versus medical logs. Training camps versus pharmacy records. And something didn't line up. There were gaps. Weeks where usage was documented, but authorization was not. In boxing, that gray area isn't gray at all. It's guilt adjacent. Former champions weighed in. Some defended him. People don't understand what fighters put their bodies through. One said, injuries force choices. Others weren't so generous. If your exemption ends, it ends, another snapped. No excuses. That's the rule. Then came the most damaging revelation. An internal email, leaked, not released. It showed a request from his team to backdate paperwork. Not approved, not denied, just unanswered. And in combat sports, unanswered paperwork is a ticking clock. The public turned fast. Fans split into camps. Comment sections became courtrooms. Every slow-motion replay now looked suspicious. Power, speed, endurance. Had it always been him or chemistry? The lab results still hadn't dropped. But the narrative had already sentenced him. Because once the paper trail cracks, everything else follows. Stay with the details. They matter more than the headlines. The test results finally arrived. But instead of clarity, they created chaos. Because the substance was there, but not in the amount anyone expected. The results didn't leak. They dropped. Quietly, clinically, and far more confusing than anyone expected. The lab confirmed it. The substance was present. That much was undeniable. But the concentration stopped everyone cold. It wasn't performance spiking high. It wasn't trace contamination low. It sat in the most dangerous place possible. The middle. Enough to raise alarms. Not enough to scream intent. Experts immediately split. One side argued metabolism. Certain substances, they explained, don't leave the body cleanly. Depending on dosage, injury severity, and frequency of use, remnants can linger, sometimes long after approval windows close. The other side wasn't buying it. In boxing, one analyst said bluntly, "You don't get credit for what might still be in your system." The commission convened an emergency review panel. No cameras, no live updates, just men and women staring at charts, timelines, and biological half-life models. And then came the question no one wanted to ask out loud. Why didn't he disclose continued use? Because disclosure was mandatory, even for tapering, even for residual dosing. His medical team claimed oversight, a miscommunication, a clerical lapse, nothing more. But the rules didn't care about intent, only compliance. Then something unexpected happened. A second lab, independent, returned slightly different numbers. Not lower, higher. Not enough to overturn the first test, but enough to suggest recent usage. Within weeks, not months. That changed the tone completely. Now this wasn't about lingering traces. It was about timing, fight week timing. And suddenly, every punch from that bout carried new weight. His opponent released a statement. Short, sharp, controlled. I trained clean. I fought clean. And I lost clean. No accusation, just implication. Sponsors went silent. One removed his image overnight. Another paused campaigns pending review. The silence spoke louder than outrage. Then the commission did the unthinkable. They delayed judgment. No immediate suspension. No clearance. Just limbo. And limbo is brutal. Because careers don't stall gently, they rot. Training camps canceled. Future bouts quietly pulled. Phones stopped ringing. And through it all, he said almost nothing. One interview. One sentence. I know who I am. But the sport wasn't asking who he was. It was asking what was in his blood. If you're still watching, you already know this isn't about science alone. It's about what the sport chooses to forgive. The verdict came months later. But by then, the punishment wasn't just legal. It was personal. By the time the commission finally reconvened, the damage had already been done. Not with a gavel, but with absence. No calls from promoters. No invitations to training camps. No endorsements checking in just to see how he's doing. Silence became the punishment. Inside the boxing community, whispers hardened into assumptions. Gyms talked. Cutmen talked. Opponents talked. And once fighters start talking, truth becomes optional. A former rival went public first. Not accusing, just remembering. I always wondered how he kept that pace late rounds. That was all it took. Clips resurfaced. Late fight surges. Unusual recovery between rounds. Moments that once looked heroic now felt suspicious. Context rewrites history fast. Meanwhile, the fighter trained alone. No cameras. No sparring partners willing to be seen. Just roadwork at dawn and heavy bags after midnight. His legal team pushed for dismissal. They argued contamination, medical necessity, chain of custody discrepancies between labs. But the commission wasn't in a hurry. They had learned something important over the years. Waiting hurts more than ruling. Then came the leak. Not a verdict, a recommendation. 6 months suspension. Mandatory rehab program. Fight purse forfeiture from the contested bout. No lifetime ban. No career death sentence. But in boxing, 6 months can erase you. The public reacted instantly. Some called it soft. Others called it fair. Most called it confirmation. Because nuance doesn't trend. Guilt does. Finally, the ruling became official. The commission cited presence of a prohibited substance. Failure to disclose continued exposure. No conclusive proof of performance enhancement, but clear violation of protocol. Sentence delivered. And just like that, it was over. Except it wasn't. Because the record still stands. The win still counts. The loss still hurts. And the question still hangs over every future fight. Is redemption possible? When doubt never leaves the scorecard. Subtle hints were left throughout this story. Dates, reactions, statements. If you caught them, you already have suspects in mind. Watch it again. Comment who you think this was about. No civil charges were filed. The suspension was served in full. The fighter later returned to the ring. But his name? It never sounded the same again. Next episode. When trust breaks inside a training camp, and the person closest to you becomes the biggest risk.